and welcome to ET Now's Budget Yatra. Today we are in Ahmedabad, a city which reflects India's enterprise, entrepreneurship and economic ambition. So in Ahmedabad's Budget Yatra, we'll talk to retail investors of Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad student and real estate developers. We'll try to know what are their expectations from union budget, which kind of announcement they are really hoping in upcoming union budget. So let's start Budget Yatra in Ahmedabad. Hello and welcome to ET Now. This segment of Budget Yatra is from one of the most prestigious premier institute of the country, that is IIM Ahmedabad, and I am joined by students of IIM Ahmedabad to know their wish list, their suggestions for upcoming union budget. So thank you so much everyone for joining our Budget Yatra show on ET Now. So I'll start with Kamal Sood only. Kamal, what is your suggestion for Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in upcoming union budget?
So one key expectation from me, and I believe the investors, would be around relaxation on dividends taxation, especially for private limited companies and MSMEs. So let's say there are two people who structure the business as partnership. They'll pay tax at 30% and then partners can spend the money. If the same two people form the business as a private limited company, the company pays corporate tax at 25% and then the people again pay tax as shareholders on dividends at, let's say, 30%. So to promote more transparent form of business, which is a company, and I think which the government also wants through all its schemes, is to relax tax on dividends.
Okay, relaxation on tax on dividend. Any suggestion for LTCG, STCG?
So I think LTCG tax again should be reduced a bit because
From 12.5% to?
Maybe 10% again or slightly lower can go as far as 5% because how do you promote people to remain invested in their investments and not just focus on speculative gains? So the way to that is to reduce tax on long-term capital gains. Maybe increase the period for long-term, but reduce the tax.
Okay. Saurav, you have any suggestion? What would be your suggestion for FM?
Yeah, so my suggestion would be, we have created a new regime taxation and we have seen that in the new regime, the old regime has become very much uncompetitive. But
so more than 90% taxpayers are in new regime only, and eventually it will increase to 95, 97, 98% of taxpayers.
Right, definitely. But the old regime had few good things. For example, it promoted investments through the way of ATC. It promoted health insurance through the way of ATD. And it also had a lot of things like interest on interest on car loans, etc., which were electric in nature. So these were the things which the government used to promote. However, since the people are moving towards the new regime, it has been going. So the government should evaluate whether few things with respect to that could be retained in the new regime, or maybe the old regime could be made more competitive as compared to the new one.
So you want some sort of deductions in new regime also?
Yeah, so because basically indirectly earlier people used to have certain portion of their income, even for tax purposes, put into some investments or health insurance, but it is not there. So it could be better for the long-term view of the country.
Okay, brother, what you have to say?
Hi, thank you. My name is Abdul Ayan, and while my colleagues will be talking a lot more about the push policies with the union budget, I would want to talk about the macroeconomic drags. Particularly a very discussed issue in our country is pollution. So there, apart from the premature deaths, there are a lot of other fiscal burdens that it puts our country through, one of which is, for example, sick leaves. There is reduced labor participation in the workforce as well, and it causes about a loss of about 10% to our GDP. And this is also a well addressed issue at a national level. And I believe these macroeconomic drags could be cut down by, let's say, apportioning a particular amount to outcome.
Also, dedicated outlay for the to control pollution.
Yes, that would be correct. Apart from, of course, taking care of the heat reduction policies, because most of our workforce is also employed in agriculture. There is construction, so most of it has to be taken care of by the government through an outcome-linked program for dedicated for
So
pollution.
you want something big for environment.
Yes, that would be correct.
Akshata, I will come to you. So give me 3 suggestions you have for Honorable Finance Minister and any specific sector you want to get relief. Then I'll come to Himanshu.
So my recommendation for the upcoming union budget would be for a more structural push for female labor force participation rate. So though we see that we have achieved a 35.3% female labor force participation rate, there is still a huge gap between urban and rural participation. And surprisingly, the female urban participation is much less as compared to rural. So in order to solve those, the 3 recommendations from my side would be: first is to develop childcare infrastructure by providing care PLI incentives to corporates so that they develop child infrastructure. We can encourage more urban women to pursue job opportunities and thereby improve their consumption and the GDP. The second would be formalizing the shadow workforce. So as per the India Employment Report, more than 90% of Indian women are engaged in informal sector where they have very low pay, they lack social security and legal safeguards. So by slashing the GST rate from 18% to 5% on staffing services, we can encourage the small enterprises to create more formal job opportunities for women. And the last would be to enable optional joint tax filing system. So currently our system penalizes single earner households by allowing the
Joint
spouse.
tax filing for both husband and wife.
Yes. So if we allow the spouses to pool their income and double the exemption limit, we can incentivize the second earner to also go into the job industry and thereby improve our GDP. So these would be the 3 reforms.
3 suggestions from
Yes.
you. Now I'll go to Himanshu. Himanshu, what are your suggestions?
I believe India should increase its spend on research and development. Currently, India does only 0.6 to 0.7% of the GDP towards R&D expense, whereas the world does much more. China does 2.4%, US does 3.4%, and South Korea leads with 5%. What it does is it provides access to intellectual property and global supply chains. What is even more concerning is the fact that out of that 0.7% GDP expenditure, only 36% is led by private players. Right. While public support is required, but private players need to push up. Right. This will give them access to intellectual property
So
and
you
global
want
supply chains.
R&D budget should be of 2%, 3% of GDP. It will be many-fold of present situation.
Doing that would be difficult. I would like to structure it this way. We can increase it to 1% by financial year 28. So maybe increasing it by 10 basis points this year, from 0.7% to 0.8%, and by taking bold bets in emerging areas like clean energy, electrolyzers, defense and aviation, medical equipment, robotics, AI. So these could be some of the very bold moves that India can take.
Okay, Bhavya.
Right, so I come from business family, right? So my recommendations are more in line with MSMEs. So we take a lot of pride that MSMEs contribute 30% to the GDP of the country, and around 40 to 45% is done by exports by MSMEs. We know what economy has been facing in the past 1 year, right? There are exogenous demand shocks because what Mr. Trump has been doing in the US. So my recommendation is twofold. Over the short term, I think there is a liquidity crunch that MSMEs face. So my recommendation would be to come up with a liquidity scheme for these MSMEs similar to what was provided during COVID, so that they can face this liquidity crunch. Over long term, I think we need to focus on cost competitiveness for MSMEs, and this could only be done when we, go away with structural issues which the economy is facing. For instance, there is inverted duty structure in gems and jewelry, particularly and textile. So if we get away with these things, maybe the industry would become more competitive. So with regards to MSMEs, this is what I have to say.
Okay, you.
Hello, I am Arnav. So basically, I mean, adding to his point, my expectations are also more aligned with reorienting the MSME credit guarantee schemes for making us more globally competitive. So MSME is like the biggest puzzle that I see, and the real constraint there is the capability in terms of technological upgradation, in terms of managerial skills, and integration with global value chains. So the two pillars that I want to personally suggest, first is investing in innovation and compliance. So recently, IKEA CEO made a statement that India contributes only 1% to the global furniture supply chain. It is primarily because our standards are not harmonized with the global standards. So the current, as Bhavya mentioned, government is one of the biggest clients for these MSMEs, but government also has a mandate of paying them within a time frame of 45 days, which they don't. Due to which delay in payments, their liquidity crunch does not allow them space to do technological upgradation or more compliant towards the norms. So that would be the first area. And the second in investing in public. Our IIM-A alum, Ajay Banga, recently made a statement in World Economic Forum that in the next 12 to 15 years, emerging markets are going to see 1.2 billion job seekers, but only 400 million new jobs. So what I expect from government is investing in people, not in terms of
Skill upgrading.
not in terms of broad-based skill upgrading, but more demand-driven, industry-linked upgrading, so that the education is more closely related to the employability. So these would be my 2 cents.
Okay. Anyone else you want to say? Yeah.
My name is Apurv. So, echoing Kamal's point, my point is also on retail investors. So right now, we see a lot of influx of retail investments in fixed sustainable asset classes like debt mutual funds. It's around 17 to 18 lakh crores. And even real estate investment trusts, which is close to 2 lakh crores right now of AUM. Right now, the tax structure is so complex in these asset classes where the burden of splitting these, of course, there are different time frames, and the burden of splitting between interest, between rent, falls on the investor. Right? So it's very complex, and it's also on slab rates. So the tax rates are also very high. So to promote these asset classes, I believe the government can provide some tax incentives and simplify the structure for this.
Simplify the structure and tax incentives. So we got the views of future CEOs of corporate India speaking about simplification of tax structure, more outlay for R&D, relaxation in LTCZ, long-term capital gain tax. So that's it from IIM Ahmedabad campus. Stay tuned to ET Now. In this segment of Budget Yatra from Ahmedabad, we'll talk about real estate sector of Ahmedabad because real estate sector in Ahmedabad has emerged as a top destination for investors, for home buyers, and if we talk about the rental yield also, Ahmedabad has given top rental yield as compared to other cities in India. So I'm joined by Kidai Ahmedabad members who are developers also. So we'll try to know what are their wish list for upcoming union budget. Sir, what are your suggestions for the real estate sector to Finance Minister?
So we'd like to request our Finance Minister that if they can restart the interest-linked subsidy scheme that was given the benefit which was given directly to the customer who was buying their home for the first time. For a non-metro city, it was 60 square meters of the carpet area. So I think they can increase the carpet area and they can start the same interest-linked subsidy on the home loan, which was directly benefited to the customer. It will indirectly boost the industry at all.
So when it was given that interest-linked subsidy was given, you have seen that there was a boost in housing sales?
Yes. Because of the 2,60,000 interest subsidy, a lot of people who were in rental houses, they thought of buying their own houses because they were getting the subsidy directly to their loan accounts. So it was a win-win situation for them because if they were buying some apartment for 50 lakhs, out of which 2,67,000 was supported by the government as a subsidy. So it was a very,
It
very...
was a win-win for developers, for home buyers, and for a government also in a way, because housing for all mission was getting fulfilled, sir. Sir, from you, I want to understand what are the present challenges in real estate sector of Ahmedabad, and do you agree that Ahmedabad will emerge as a hot favorite destination for many more coming years? Because on the rental yield front, we are seeing that Ahmedabad is giving the highest rental yield.
Sir, if you look at the data, I think Ahmedabad is right now is sitting on number 7. So what we think, just before I think few days back, we have done a fantastic property Olympiad in Ahmedabad, and that is our guide property Olympiad, and our tagline this time was, this decade is going to be for Ahmedabad. In Gujarati we say that Have Ahmedabad no dasko hai. So ye dashak hai jo Ahmedabad ka hai. This is what I want to say. And
So what factors are supporting that this decade belongs to Ahmedabad?
look, there are a lot of factors which is supporting Ahmedabad. Initially, it was when Modi ji was the CM of Gujarat. A lot of policy making was done at that particular point of time. Now, after 2012 and 2014, I think the policies supported Ahmedabad real estate development. Now, the sports infra is the biggest initiative which we have. Commonwealth aa raha hai, that is in 2030, 2029 mein police and fire department ka game is coming up in Ahmedabad. Then I think there are ओलंपिक आ गया तो आई थिंक वी से इन हिंदी दैट सोने पे सुहागा है अहमदाबाद के लिए. पर मेरे हिसाब से 26 to 36 दिस डेकेड इज 100% इज गोइंग टू बी फॉर अहमदाबाद, बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव एनी जियोग्राफिकल बाउंड्री ऑल्सो. लाइक एनसीआर वी हैव 360 डिग्री का पेरीमीटर, वी कैन ग्रो इन एनी डायरेक्शन, वी हैव सुपर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, एंड एट द एंट्री बैरियर इज ऑल्सो वेरी लो एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. जो अभी अहमदाबाद में एंटर नहीं कर पाएगा तो आई विल से यू विल बी टू लेट आफ्टर 3-4 years. सो दिस इज वन पॉइंट.
So new developers will also venture into Ahmedabad, you are confident?
There is a lot of opportunity for new developers also. National players want to, if they want to come in Ahmedabad, I think there is a huge opportunity. And again, I think I will say that we request to state government also to reduce stamp duty on affordable housing. There are 5% stamp duty right now, 4.9% plus 1%. So we request.
Government also want revenue. Government also want money.
They can have revenue. There are a lot of other ways to get the revenues also, but we want to request only for the affordable housing segment. If they can reduce it by 1%, there will be a huge boost for the first home buyers in Ahmedabad city also.
Okay, sir. Sir is saying about the reduction in stamp duty on affordable housing. So, but that will come under the state budget. For union budget, what will be your wish list?
See, this government's mantra has always been housing for all. When we say housing for all means it's more than 1 billion population. So we need to create a lot of houses. To create houses, we need a lot of support from the government and from all the stakeholders. There are 300 industries which are dependent on real estate directly or indirectly. So a lot of employment also gets generated from there. So if government does whatever we have been requesting since long, relook at affordable housing definition, relook at GST, relook at stamp duty by state government. So all those things, if somebody has to come in forward and look at everything as a whole, then only the entire thing can develop as an overall industry. We also wanted to have a request to government that this has been a long pending request that we should be assigned a industry status. That also will give a lot of credibility from lending and debt.
Industry status to real estate sector. Okay, sir. So, final comment from you, sir.
Sir, as a real estate industry, we appreciate last year's budget proposal of capital gain tax formulas. There are 2 formulas constituted. Without indexation and with the indexation. For that, we request to reduce that 12.5% to 10% capital gain tax for the boost of real estate sector. And for talking for Ahmedabad, Gujarat, so in Ahmedabad, many bullet trains is connected with the financial capital Mumbai. Many automobile industries are coming to here. So migration will happen specifically in Ahmedabad real sector. And affordable sector is the requirement of the people, public at large. And so we request Union Ministry Finance to read
the definition of affordable housing. Yes, sir. So you want to say something?
No, we will like to recommend the same thing, that we want the change in the residential affordable housing policies.
Definition of
The
affordable
definition,
housing.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's a common demand coming in from all the developers of Ahmedabad, and they are saying that this decade belongs to Ahmedabad because there are a lot of events coming in next few years. Lot of infrastructure development is also lined up. So developers are very much optimistic about the Ahmedabad real estate sector, but they are asking for change in definition of affordable housing that will help them to sell more and more affordable houses. So that's it from Budget Chopal from Ahmedabad. Stay tuned to ET Now. We are in Ahmedabad, and when you are in Ahmedabad, you have to talk about investment because Ahmedabad has emerged as a top destination when we talk about the investment hubs, either HNI offices, long-term investment, or by the trading community also. Every second house in Ahmedabad will be making some sort of investments in a capital market, a mutual fund, or some sort of trading also. So for this Budget Chopal, I am joined by participants who are into the capital market, and they are in capital market from last 10 years, 15 years and 20 years. Sir, you are into the capital market from how many years, and for the upcoming budget, what is your one wish?
Yes, I'm Drumil Vyas, and I'm associated with Sai Investors since last 7 years, and I have been seeing the research desk. And my wish for FM is that they promote the long-term investment,